Mic check, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the KZ Community Beat. I'm your host, Ross Martinez in Peoria. Today's conversation is about our kids, our schools, and our future. I'm joined by someone who knows those challenges firsthand. Gregory Wilson, president of the Peoria Public Schools Board of Education. And this isn't about politics or finger pointing. This is about understanding, solutions, and standing together for our community. So come in with an open mind. We're going to have a very honest conversation. And we're going to touch a lot of different topics that you submitted. So please, open mind. Let's hear Gregory for everything he's doing in our community. Without further ado, let's get to the podcast. All right, what's going on? Welcome into the KZ Community Beat. I'm your host, Ross Martinez. And yes, as you heard in the opener, my guest today is Gregory Wilson, the president of the Peoria Public Schools Board of Education. Is it Greg or Gregory? Would you mind, dog?
Greg is fine.
Greg.
Yeah, perfect.
Hey, how long you been here in Peoria, bro?
Man, I've been in Peoria about going on, say, 11, 12 years now. Moved here in 2013.
Where you from?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Bengals fan.
Bengal fan, through and through.
So.
Who day? And we Super Bowl run. What was that? 2 years ago. Probably the hottest, behind Mahomes. And Allen. We got Burrow. So future's looking bright.
Now with that offensive line, dog.
I know, man. We upgrade everything but that offensive line.
It's funny. My director, Stefan the Don, as I like to call him.
Yeah.
He's a through and through Bengals guy.
For real?
Oh, dude.
Okay.
But I text him all the time and tell him, "Hey, man, how you doing? You surviving?
Right.
He doing good.
For sure.
Yeah, he doing good."
I wonder if he has roots to Cincinnati. It's not often you see a Bengal fan in Illinois.
I like to joke and say he's from Flint, Michigan, because he's mad about that. But I think he's somewhere over those.
Okay.
But I'm a Bears fan. Today we're recording. Bears will be playing Monday Night Football, but that has nothing to do with you.
Yeah. Well, shout out the Bears though.
Hey,
shout
Bears
out the
Nation.
Bears. Yeah.
But before we get into policies and numbers, I want to start with you, man. Mm-hmm. What first pulled you into education and community leadership?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with community leadership. I think it's a story of mine that really kind of started around when I first moved here. Coming from Cincinnati, coming up with the upbringing that I had was, made a lot of bad decisions, bad choices, kind of running with the wrong crowd. So one thing I wanted to do is once I realized, I was able to make it out of that, I wanted to give back. And it started with just one person. I wanted to impact one person's day to the point where I felt like I would be satisfied, what that looked like. I don't know what I did. I don't know if I went and gave someone some money that looked like they needed it. I have no idea. But once I did that once, then it went and said, I want to do that for two people. And then naturally it just kind of bled, over. So, it just kept happening and put me in positions to where now I'm impacting hundreds of people with a community event that we're doing where we're giving out free food and having performances and things of that nature, to where we're at now with leading our education system in our city. That's 13,000 kids that I'm now responsible for. That's not including the families that, the fathers and the mothers. So that's kind of how it happened, man. It just, my heart was tied into doing the right thing. When you know better, you do better. God, luckily was able to save me from myself. And we have, and here we are today.
It's funny I Southside Chicago, that's where I grew up, Bridgeport, Pilsen area.
Okay.
And my mom, super involved with the church. We're talking about Sunday school, reads. She was also in the choir, but she couldn't carry a note.
Yeah, right.
Love you, Mom. Thanks for listening. But all the kids she would teach would end up being, on the street corner, whatever. So there was a known fact that my mom said, don't talk to my kid. If I see you talking to my kid, we got problems. So that's how she kept me out of all the mess.
Nice. Shout out to Mom.
Hey, Mom, she listens every now and then. Shout out to Sandy, Sandra, Mrs. Martinez. Mom. So what kept you kind of in line? Like, what was the final thing where you're like, you know what? I'm going down the bad path.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? I'm going to credit my mom as well. So Ramona Harmon, major shout out to her. She was very religious as well. And I just remember, her you know, seeing that pain, you know, that she would see when she'll see me, you know, come in knowing I was, you know, probably up to no good, watching her pray over me, pray the blood of Jesus, as she would say, over me, and really, you know, kind of taking that in. And I was always in the church as well. So, you know, very mature for my age. You know, I was more of a organizer than I was just you know, kind of out there. I had a specific goal in mind, wasn't doing, you know, too many random things, right? But I really think that upbringing and that structure of what love is, you know, really helped me see the light and the error in my ways, right?
Yeah, I remember seeing Mom give her passions to community building when I was being raised.
Yes.
So that kind of put me down my path. Sorry, we had somebody.
Yeah.
That's one of my employees.
Oh, okay.
I manage the street team here, so sometimes he'd be coming in and have a conversation.
Right.
And I'm like,
sure.
hey, Rick, I like you. You do great work, but not right now.
Not
brother.
right now.
I'll get back to him. But no, I was able to see my mom do community building, and I think that kind of came from faith. You know, I was raised Catholic, taught Sunday school, was an altar boy, the full nine, right? As I got older, I find a lot of passion in bringing people together, strictly through like hip hop. Hip hop is community done finest when it's done right. Like we're both hip hop heads.
Yeah.
I'm like collective tongues. That's my style, hip hop, bro.
Got you.
And I always love, you know, hip hop's built on 5 pillars. The 6 being knowledge, knowledge of self, knowledge of community, and all that. So at what point did you get smart with community and realizing that there was strength in there outside just being a member of it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it was books. Books really changed my life, man. You know, reading books was able, you know, so the first couple of books that I was reading, 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, The Art of War by Sun Tzu. And these books really deal a lot with psychology, right? So, you know, after high school, going into the University of Cincinnati, I didn't really have a direction on what I wanted to do. Dropped out of college fairly early. Started reading these books, you know, seeing all the different psychological concepts and techniques that were used in there. Got interested in that. And then that's what led me to my journey of, you know, once I knew what I wanted to study, I was able to then go back into school, and eventually, well, I'm a doctor now, so you know, that worked out officially. Yep, Dr. Greg Wilson now.
What's your doctorate in?
Business. Yep. So I really tie that to the books. It gave me an understanding. It grounded me more, and then those concepts that I learned from those books, and from there it just grew. You know, I went to reading like 2 books a week. Like I did nothing but read. And that really shifted and shaped that personality and allowed me to have that newfound knowledge and apply it to the community and the people that were in need, because that's where my heart was giving me. Like my heart was making me go into the community. I didn't choose it necessarily. It chose me. And I'm so grateful it did.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because even for me, 2 books that impacted me completely. They're going to be 2 very different books. But The Giver, you remember The Giver? In synopsis, it's one individual's picked every generation to maintain the knowledge of every previous generation. They see the world for what it is. Everybody else sees the world as black and white. And the next individual chosen, The Giver, starts seeing color, where it was just black and white, and they start seeing what the world really is, and they're burdened with the story, or the task of storytelling and collecting history. Kind of put me down the path I'm in now.
Yes.
Then the next one is Mitch Albom's For One More Day and Tuesdays with Maury. Those 2 books right there taught me the moral of being present and understanding impact. Great conversations. But for me, I kind of went down the storytelling, especially with this podcast, meeting individuals that I have a lot of intrigue by. Like, we've been talking for about 3 years that we need to do this pod.
Yeah.
And we need to sit down because when I first met you, you were doing the Yanni Collective, right?
Yes. Yep.
You still a part of it?
Shout out to the Yanni Collective.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yanni Collective.
We got a couple events coming up.
Ooh, what events?
Yeah, so we got Dig'em, which is
Mark
our
Supreme.
Mark Supreme. Shout out
Great
to Mark
guy.
Supreme.
Yeah.
We'll be in Chicago October 27th. So we got about 8 schools coming down for that. 444 students exactly signed up for that so far. We're looking to get 550. We'll be at the University of Illinois Chicago. So we're going to take the students from Peoria, Central, Richwoods, Manual to Chicago, along with Chicago schools, and have them at our college fair. And then they go to our How to Become panels, where they get partnered with people in the business and in the industry that they want to go into when they graduate. And then we got the toy drive, 309 Toys in the Neighborhood, coming up December 13th at Art Inc.
Dude, Art Inc., another people I brought down for the pod.
Yeah, they're amazing. Shout out to Romaine.
Yeah, I've been in your orbit for a little bit.
Absolutely.
I've been interviewing individuals you work a lot with.
For sure.
Which kind of brings me to a point where I've been told Peoria operates in silos.
Yeah.
But you literally just name dropped 4 people that I've had on this pod, and you guys work collectively.
Absolutely.
So let's skip all this, early pod stuff and get right to the thick of it.
Let's do it.
There's a lot of individuals who feel that Peoria operates in silos.
Okay.
What's your take on that statement?
Man, my take on that statement is if I don't see silos. So me personally, it doesn't resonate with me. I'm here to, I gave myself 100% to helping others. So with that said, I can't operate as if silos exist, because then that would mean someone could go without. So if there was, if I felt like I couldn't reach out to a person or an organization because they're not aligned, in quotations, with me, then like if I seen and said that's a silo, they're not gonna, donate to the toy drive, or they're not gonna want to assist with getting this family some shoes. Then that could potentially mean that family wouldn't get no shoes. Where I can put my pride to the side, go over there and say, hey, what's going on? Here's the request that I have. I'm not afraid to do that. So 2 things can be right though, so I'm not gonna, discredit anyone that feels like it does exist. Mm-hmm. I would advise them to try to be more open, to that. I reach out to, if I need something, I reach out to all of our council members. It doesn't matter who it is. Like, I'm not looking at, one person may be able to help me while the other wouldn't. Again, if I thought like that, then there'll be children that won't get toys at this toy drive, and that doesn't fit with what I bring.
I think innately as humans, we operate in silos out of pride. Mm-hmm. Maybe pride, maybe out of resilience, where we know what tribes we kind of work well with, and it's hard for some individuals to cross that barrier. Yeah. How much would you say, or your opinion is, some of it may be on individuals and how they operate, or it may just be how the system is?
I think, great point, because it made me think like this too. I mean, if you're looking at a silo, like, some of these things are friend groups as well. Like, if I, like
Peoria's
you said,
a small town.
It's a very small town.
Yeah.
So if I have 7, people that you see me with all the time, that's not a silo. These are my friends. So like you said, we all have, a common attachment to some degree, whether that's we're equally yoked to that sense. We know each other. We've been through things, which is very important, right? To building that relationship. You look at it like a silo, but I look at it like they're hanging with friends. So I'm coming into a friend group, not a silo. So if I see you and you're 7 people over there, I'm coming into your silo, respecting and understanding that this is your friend group, not instantly taking that negative part, saying this is a silo and I should stay away from them because they only work within themselves. Yeah. Right. So I think it's a lot about how we think too. people operate either glass half full or it's half empty. I'm always this half full, never looking at it like it's half empty. So I think it's a lot of, people's personalities and how they see those things. Because again, I see 8 people sticking around doing work and they only work with each other. I see a friend group. And I have no problems coming into that friend group saying, hey, y'all, we have this community initiative. Is there anything that you can help us out with? And 9 times out of 10, it's absolutely. And now those individuals become part of your friend group. And it just all works like that. And that's how we're supposed to be working.
Like we were talking off mic about, so what's today's date? Today is the 13th. Mm-hmm. So yesterday, the 12th, it was a Sunday, and we all got the same notification that ICE was in our community.
Yes.
And there's an individual in our community who is, I call her the face of Latinos. She's a very proud Latina here, Cristel Fraso, one of my good friends here in Peoria. And they run their morning show down here.
Yes, Morning Chow.
Dude, amazing show. And I know for a fact she reaches every person in the community on either side of the aisle just trying to help out.
Yep.
And I know she works with you, right?
Yes, absolutely. So Cristel, I call her Boss Lady. She's saved under my phone as Boss Lady. Love Cristel. And then I believe, what's her co-host name? Is it Andy?
Andy Freemack.
Yeah, so he's our
Great
Santa
guy.
Claus this year for the 309 Toys in the Neighborhood. Yeah.
Hey, there's a plug. Here's a plug. Because you know what? Just like what I do with them, I do with Mark Supreme and Strictly Hip Hop. I brought Mark down to advertise Strictly Hip Hop on my platform.
Yeah.
I brought down Andy and Cristel to advertise in Morning Show.
Absolutely.
Because I believe that as community, we need to come together and show support.
Yep.
So let me ask you, man, with non-working in silos, how do I want to put this? I'm trying to think of a way to position this conversation where it's not strictly pointed at you.
Yeah, for sure.
But with everything going on, I brought up ICE and he said all that as a talking pivot point to how are PPS handling all this? Because we're seeing in Chicago firsthand that there was a lady that was took outside when they're picking up their kids.
Yeah.
So for someone that is a part of the immigrant community, how's PPS handling all this?
So I think we're doing a lot of different unique things. One of the things that I do know, that I think is a huge help is that each of our schools have a school resource officer. So, that happened probably 2-3 years ago. Shout out to Demario Boone, absolutely, our director of security. We work together to make that happen, and I think that's very important as we see what we have now, because we're going to have those individuals that are trained to understand how to, push back on ICE, because they're not welcome in our schools. Absolutely. I say it over and over and over again. And Facebook posted, IG posted.
You know what? It's refreshing to see somebody in a position like yours to actively say that, because even here, for me being a quote unquote public figure or somebody in media, I actively say, fuck that.
Yeah.
This is a podcast. We could cuss. I don't care. They could come at me.
No doubt.
There's a saying in Spanish. It's mejor morir de pie que vivir en rodilla. It's better to die on your feet than to live on your knees.
Oh, absolutely.
And my pride tells me I'm going to use my platform how I can.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we saw yesterday how the community reacted.
Yep.
You saw the videos. There were people at the soccer fields, and they left everything.
Yeah, everything. Tents, everything. Like cooking, those things aren't cheap. Like, food, when food is sky high right now. Strollers, you name it, just literally got up and had to leave. That's fear. That's terror.
It's losing
that's
community.
The world that we're unfortunately in right now, and it sucks. We're divided more than ever right now. This climate is crazy. I pray for it, and try to do my part in what I can accomplish and do. But yeah, it's crazy right now. But I think we haven't really seen too much action from the school side yet, but we're definitely prepared. I know right around that time, where it was probably about a year ago, we have a safe haven policy that I made sure Dr. Karat And shout out to Dr. Karat, man, the GOAT.
I've heard
the
she's
GOAT.
done amazing things,
She's
man.
the GOAT, man.
I've only had the
Yeah.
pleasure of meeting her once.
Yeah.
And she was on mission that day, so I didn't get a chance to really ask her too many
for
questions.
Sure, for sure.
But for those that don't understand the value that Dr. Crop brought to this community, can you speak a little bit more on the impact she had, the value of her skill set, and the hole that she's leaving by leaving?
So, Dr. Karat is somebody that's been in this community for a while, right? She did time at the Urban League all before my time, right? So there's probably a good 10 years, 15 years of work that she's put in that I'm not even privy to, right? But upon joining the board, able to see how she moves, see how involved she was with the community, see her passion behind the work that she does, because people get into positions, because of their degrees, their diplomas, they're qualified, but they lack the passion behind the work that they do, right? And you can always tell that. Dr. Karat was somebody that didn't like that passion. She never forgot where she came from. She's able to talk across the board, which is very important.
That's a big thing people don't understand. Being able to talk across the board.
It's huge. It's a quality.
Can you explain what that phrasing means for individuals that may not be on the ups with the language?
Yeah, for sure. So I like to think I do it well as well. And what that looks like is being able to set aside any preconceived notions of what an individual or who an individual is, and you work with them and you give them respect, right? So that means anyone that I come into contact with, I'm not instantly going to accept or listen to any prejudgment on their character. I'm going to go up to them. I'm going to shake their hand. I'm going to look them in the eye. I'm going to talk about whatever we're going to talk about at that particular moment, and not feel a certain type of way, and genuinely try to bridge a connection between us, something that we can agree to and continue to go into. It's very important to do that, especially as a board member, where you're essentially making votes with 6 other people, 7 of us total. We can't get anything accomplished if, for whatever reason, there's someone that told me, hey, you shouldn't like this person. Not even going to listen to that. Yeah. This is a person I have to work with. So before I go into that negative, spear, I'm going to, introduce myself and do it just like I would do anyone else. And we're going to find some common ground, because respect is everything. Once you get there and you're able to talk across that board, then you start to realize you have more similarities than you do differences. Honestly. And that's when you start to see people try to divide, and I'm not here for that.
Look, when you really think about it, at the end of the day, all y'all are devoting time to be on this board, right?
Yep.
It comes down to one simple thing.
Yep.
You all believe in the children.
Absolutely.
It may be different perspectives and views on certain things, but at the core value of the reason you as adults are doing what you're doing, I would love to believe, because I'm an optimist at heart, is because y'all really give a shit about the kids.
Absolutely. Yep.
What is the conflict past that?
Yeah.
We've seen, we'll get into the superintendent search and all that and all this other things, but
for sure.
How long you been on the board now?
I've been on the board 7 years now. Seven, yeah.
So what's that conflict where sometimes y'all just not on the same page?
So it's almost like the silos, but I'm going to answer the question. I don't see silos. Remember I said that, right?
Yeah.
I don't see conflict. So I just want to put that out there. Now, where I'm going to go at is just from my thought process on what we see is that, there are disagreements that happen, but due to not speaking to individuals beforehand, that prejudging, so to speak, I think that not being able to talk across the board is the key, right? Mm-hmm. It's easier to get super upset at someone that you never even tried to get to understand. And that's a lot of what I think we see. If I disagree with anybody on that board, that's not leaving anywhere with me, because I like everyone on the board. You see what I'm saying? So I think we get into those tricky spots when you don't reach out to genuinely say, shake someone's hand and say, hey, this is who I am. When do you want to meet? Let's get to know each other. If that doesn't happen, then it is easy to get into conflict with someone that disagrees with you. You don't know that person.
How often do you personally, the individual, Greg, right?
Yeah.
How often do you have to bite that tongue with your pride and be like, no, let me work with this individual? Not to put anybody on blast, but more like as a man to man, because professionally, there's time for real.
Yeah, not with my board members. Now, maybe in the community and other things like that. But when it comes to the board members, man, it just has to be a respect factor there. Like you said, we're there for the kids, and maybe unconsciously I know that and I think of that. Yeah. And it's like you said, we're all looped in and tied into making this better. If I'm gonna, and I encourage that when I speak to the board members, say what's on your mind, and that's critical. Like if you feel like this towards me, say that to me. So that then maybe it's a relationship, no different than one with your lady, whatever that looks like. You have to find common ground to say, okay, you know what, you don't like the way I say, this is going to be that. Okay, well, next time I'll switch it up for you. You know, that way I don't have to bite the tongue, because that's one thing I don't do well is bite my tongue. Like if I have a problem with an individual on the board, I'm going to direct it directly to them. So that it's respect always.
See, your conflict resolution ability is way better than mine. Yeah. See, this is why I know.
And there's a reason for that, though.
Was the reason?
Coming from where I came from, communication can cost you your life. Like I've been in situations to where if conflict resolution, it was serious. Like, And I can't take this stuff serious, right? So coming from that lifestyle to where it really gets very serious and can cost you your life, to now coming onto a board of education where we're in charge of 13,000 students and we can do good, it's just, I can't weigh those conflicts. Like meaning I can't come here with conflict because I know what real conflict looks like.
It's a different level.
It's a different level.
The game, not game, but the process in which the board collectively comes together. Yeah, it's not going to result in something that would have happened way back.
Exactly, and since it's not, I can't use what I've learned over here when it comes to conflict and apply it over here. That's why I say I can't see conflict.
Did you always have that train of thought, or what age did you kind of like that broke through? Be like, oh wait, let's not react that way. We're not there anymore. Yeah, we're a different individual. We're grown and we have responsibilities. Yeah. Like at what point in life did that kind of click for you?
Man, honestly, there was a situation with poor customer service at Little Caesars. I don't know how long ago it was, Caesars. Man. It could have been 8 years ago. It could have been 10. In any case, I was in college. I was, doing great work, whatever that was, looking like at the time, and got poor customer service. And the man behind the counter was kind of, he was getting a little aggressive with it too, right?
A little lippy.
And I had said something, but then it crept back in, and I kind of stepped it back, so I didn't go all the way to the point where I would have took it before. But then that night I had a vision and a thought that said, "Man, you've come way too far." To get caught up over a situation at Little Caesars, and now everything you've worked hard for goes away. And once that happened and God showed me that vision and put that on my heart, it's very easy now to walk away from things because, it's not worth it. You got to be careful what you put your energy towards, because energy is real.
It's still a lesson I'm learning, man. I find myself biting my tongue a little bit more frequently, especially with the climate that we're in and the position I have. And I think lately I've stopped and I've been a lot more honest with my platform and how I use my voice and things. But there's still some days, man, as an individual, I'm like, I want to say something. I want to do something. Absolutely. Do you find your position or in the position you're in, do you ever feel conflicted sometimes with being completely who you are and maintaining the quote unquote professionalism?
No, because that's who I am, right? Like, so there's no, like, I don't, I'm completely, like, different from, how I was. And the one thing is I'm always authentic still. So the same way that I'm here is the same way I'm at the school board, is the same way that I act at the OSF fundraiser, is the same way that I act if I was back on a Cincinnati street with my friends. I'm acting the same way. Like, I'm not going to code switch, right? Yeah, I'm not going to put the pants down some more. No, I'll wear them up now, So I'm me all the way. And that was another pact that I made with myself, just kind of my principles that I've been able to stand on. I'm not going to switch, change for anyone. Like this is who I am. And God, I look at myself as one of God's children, and he has blessed me with the ability to be impactful, and there's nothing that can stop that.
That
besides
is also,
me.
Well, yeah. I mean, you remember the saying that you can't control the winds when you're sailing, but you can control the sails.
Yes.
In the winds, where you can't control everything that happens, man.
Yeah.
And the quicker you learn to stop fighting it and just go along with it or reposition your train of thought, it's a lot better on you.
Yes.
I think this past year, personally, I've grown a lot more with that train of thought. But there's still some days where I'll be pressed, man, or comments will get to me.
Yep.
And I got to remember, okay, no. This ain't 2013, Ross.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's 2025.
Absolutely.
We've been seeing a lot with PPS, man, in the news. I think now more than ever you see a lot of frustration, maybe being tossed your guys' way. I've been reading and hearing a lot from proficiency scores to superintendent searches to safety policies. So let's have a conversation. Let's clear some things up.
Yeah, for sure. Can I go back 1 second before we get there?
Yeah.
I want to just because I think this is a good point, right? We talked about silos. One of the biggest things on silos is people say is churches, right? And everything that you had just said and mentioned, where you say you're still struggling with that, but you're starting to learn, I think you used the key word in that, like, something happens when your mind shifts over and you have a complete shift in the way that you view life, right? Like perspective, right? So one of our first initiatives, Mind Over Matter 1, the Yanni Collective, partnered with 28 churches to provide 1,000 books inside the Juvenile Detention Center. First thing that I did when I got on the board was I went to the Juvenile Detention Center, toured it, because I wanted to see what the process was like where our juveniles, our students, go into that juvenile system, what that looks like, and then just what it looked like, right? So I noticed their library didn't have books of substance. A lot of the books were Harry Potter. A lot of the books were worn down, beat down. They didn't provide that guidance. Remember, I told you books saved my life. Yeah. So we put 1,000 books in there, and then when you open up the pages, there's a remark from community leaders, parents, teachers that says something like, "You are doing great. Just stay on a great path. Listen, learn, keep your eyes open. Mayor Ali," right? Like that's what they get. So they actually get a chance to view a book that can change their life and shift their perspective, but also get a message from a community leader. And we partnered with 28 churches to make that happen.
That's something you don't hear much about.
For sure. And I just remember that because we're talking perspective. Yep. And we're talking about silos where churches have to operate as a silo to a degree. They're the church, right? Yeah. So to be able to go into that silo, like I was saying, say, "Hey, how we doing? We got some things over here we try to do." That's how community collaboration happens. And if I looked at every church and said, they're not going to do it, they're only concerned about what they are going to do for their congregation or their building, that negative aspect, then it would have never happened and we wouldn't have those books in the Juvenile Detention Center now. I just had thought about that point when you had said that, so I just wanted to piggyback on
I like to dig a little bit deeper into that.
Sure.
What was that process like? What did you think it was like before you went to go see it? What was it actually like, and how has it been modified? So
it was like how I knew it was. I spent time time in a juvenile detention center as well. So it was very similar to that. You know, you have a cell. You know, you have a big area where you can come out into, then it's back into the cell. It's very boring, you know, of course, right? But I didn't expect for the library. I didn't know what I expected, honestly, but just as soon as I seen the library, I knew something had to change. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those books that we just talked about before.
Same.
And knew that those books needed to go in there, knew that these were our students. And yeah. So it was an easy thought to have. Putting it into motion. First thing I did was created an Amazon wish list. Had a QR code for it. So I was able to put the books that we're looking for. That way people knew what we were looking for. Like, no disrespect to Moby Dick. It's a great literary piece of art, right? But that wasn't the books that I was going for, you know.
What books were you going for in the moment?
Barack Obama autobiography, financial literacy books, The Art of War by Sun Tzu, books that make you think.
Teach you the game.
Books that teach about civilization. Books that can open their mind, which is why it was called Mind Over Matter.
I like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Did you see what was the response to all of that?
Huge. 1,000 books.
1,000 books.
1,000 books, man.
Were you able to talk to any individuals that actually
No, not yet. I need to go. Yeah, for sure.
Here's the thing. Where I grew up, luckily, thank God and thank my parents, I had great role models, male and female. I also had some amazing teachers that empowered me along grade school, high school, and college. Yeah. I was blessed.
Dope.
But a lot of individuals may not have that blessing or the teaching to understand the blessings that are presented to them at the time. You know, I think here's the thing I've learned in my life. Just because we all have the same board doesn't mean we're playing the same game. Some of us begin in survivor mode.
Yep.
Some community members have no idea what it means to go check to check, live off government. Some individuals don't know what it means to live in certain neighborhoods and areas. Some don't understand that they've had lineage individuals teaching them a certain thing just by actions that isn't conducive to growth or cultivating success long term. You and I are from different communities, but we have almost similar struggles. You know, I had individuals that I've lost to jail cells, to the streets, to the earth. How important is it for you to surround yourself and other PPS people with those type of role models to help the children out?
Man, very important. Very. It kind of goes without saying. I mean, you know, it's one of the reasons why I believe the work and it's very important to see someone that looks like you inside the building as well, which is where I think representation matters, where it's huge, you know, especially for a young mind to see someone that looks like their uncle, cousin up there. That's why diversity is so important to me. You know, placing, being there, you know, this is why that stand up, be there, show out is so super cool as well. Yeah, because like seeing them in the morning time, you know, getting all those individuals together and something as simple as like a handshake before class starts, saying good job, good morning, seeing the face on the students and they're like, want to smile. They got this Kool-Aid smile on their face. They're like, what is this? You know, it really makes for a great, wholesome time. And it's something that anyone can do and take 30 minutes out of their day to just come down and do that. And it makes a huge impact because we don't know what these children and students are going through. Yeah. It's one thing to be said, violence in Peoria is pretty much down. However, we have, shootings and murders that happen in our city, right? And a lot of people like to say, if you're not, it's really separated for the most part to young, African American males, right? 13 to, however age that looks like, right? So some people think it can't, happen to them, and it's in this little bubble. But I say that, and I bring that up to say, these students that we're going to see, we don't know who their family is. So while we're shaking these hands of these students that are coming to school, we don't know if this individual this could be the brother of the person that got shot, 5 times yesterday, and they're in critical condition. And the family, says, hey, let's get him to school, get her to school, him to school, to help take his mind off of it. But the trauma he's already seeing already at this age, hearing about it, it could have happened. He could have seen it.
Yeah.
We don't know who we're talking to. That's huge.
You don't know the perspective they see outside the classrooms.
Yes.
You could kind of assume.
Yes.
But assumptions make an ass out of you and me, right?
They sure do.
And the stand-up show up, which is amazing. I remember I saw that, and it's still ongoing, right? It hasn't ended. They have one coming up, I think, this week, maybe?
Yep. Well, kids go back in school. I think the next was October 20th, I believe.
Yeah, a week early.
Yeah.
But I still see it pop up my timeline. And
yeah.
It's amazing that we have role models. And initially, it was the men in the community coming out, but now it's community in general.
Yep.
You never know. School could be the safe zone where as soon as they leave, they may be in all these after-school programs, excelling, blah, 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 all that. But the minute they leave, it's chaos.
So if I can, absolutely right. Chaos, and that's a big part of what we're faced with today, right? Mind Over Matter 2 was an initiative that we did, the girls' restroom at Manual High School. And what we did inside of there was we did murals, fix your crown queen, and had 2 silhouettes of queens, kind of fixing a crown. We had a big, we went in there and painted. Shout out to Everly Davis with the Peoria Riverfront Museum and Sadie.
Amazing.
Oh, they're killing it down there.
I brought it down for a pod too.
Okay, cool. So we got like this big flower on the bathroom wall, and it has like, you are beautiful, you will succeed, you are everything. And then we did put new mirrors inside of there and got things up on the mirrors and across the mirrors. And similar to Mind Over Matter 1, we got quotes from community members and put quotes inside the bathroom stalls, on the walls, and all this, right? I bring that up because that's the importance of role models being attached to our students and our schools, that we're able to go in there and do something like that. But also what you said, school being a safe zone, we did that because if we know anything about depression, and anything like that, you don't know what those students are going into. We don't know what's happening at the home. So if you have a young student, female, that's getting told that she's ugly left and right, you're ugly, this, that, we don't know, right? But when they come into the school, they're able to go into the bathroom, and that message, you are beautiful, can stick with them and stay with them forever. And just because she's seen that, she's never going to allow someone to say, you are ugly, to get to her because she's seen that message.
Now, some individuals listening to us may view this as a trivial addition, right? But the way you explain it, the way you position it, even if it impacts one individual,
man, job is done.
I mean, we know what the suicide rates are in young kids.
Yep.
We know that for a fact.
Absolutely.
And a lot of it comes down to people feeling lost.
Yes.
And if one quote, one mural, one something could just save one life, it's worth it.
It's worth it. And when we did that and we went in there, they said they were going to mess up that bathroom. You know what they had in the bathroom before was graffiti, beep, 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 that. It was bad. It looked like a jail cell bathroom, right?
Yeah.
It's still standing to this day, and the kids didn't mess it up. And guess what they did? They actually added quotes themselves. So if you go in there now, there's hand-wrote quotes from students that says, you are everything, never stop fighting.
What would you say? I know I have questions for
chills.
days. But this conversation seems more important than what I've pre-prepped, which we'll get to eventually. But that right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll hear members of our community from different sides of the aisle, different levels of parenting say that, you know, the children are lost.
Mm-hmm.
The children don't have they don't have that thing that to excel like previous generations. What do you say to that type of statement?
I think we're looking at a whole bunch of different factors. I think that these students, these young adults that we have now are no different than every other generation. I think it's very easy. The easy thing to do is to say these kids nowadays. But if I remember correctly, I mean, 60s, 70s, I mean, that's Crips, Bloods, right? Those were kids that were hanging out. 80s, 90s, brought with them shootings involving kids. And we're just, unfortunately, I think, getting to a point where those ages are becoming younger and younger. So I do see that. We're at an age now where 12-year-olds are being heavily influenced by music. Shout out to War with God's Music and his initiative. Can't think of it right off the bat. But it talks about drill music and the influence that it has on these these young adults. So I think these kids have a lot of different struggles that they go through. I don't think it's no different than any other generation. However, I don't think there's it's more or less worse than it was in the early 90s where, the early 90s was crazy.
I mean, every generation when they're going through the adolescent stage and they're figuring themselves out, they're realizing what type of apple they are in the process of things.
Right.
There is combustion, there is bullying, there's XYZ, all the components. Well, shit, we still have the non-politics.
Yeah.
And we're grown-ass people.
Yeah.
And we see it across both aisles.
Yep.
The game's the same. It just changes throughout generations a little bit.
It does. And just to fall into that too, just to stay on that way, I think there's many factors, but I think one of the toughest factors for these young adults, and we can look at the music though, right? I think
media definitely plays a huge part.
Media as well. You have these rappers now that have become idolized in these marginalized communities. So people like King Von, who before our rappers, didn't necessarily go out and do the things that they rapped about. NWA was the first, probably most important gangster rap group of all time, but none of them, really, rapped about what they actually did. Right.
But then at the same point, you had Public Enemy calling
out the system, right?
You had grown man rap taking over. You had conscious
and we still got
flow.
That. We still got it. Yeah.
We have a lot of individuals in hip hop that are still using their platform for good.
You know what's funny? I'm glad you said that, because the funny thing is, we listened to all of that music. It's not like, I don't think anyone sat there and just listened to NWA or gangsta music. We did have, Public Enemy would have joints, KRS, Cool G Rap, Nas, Jay-Z. They had songs we would all listen to.
Bro.
But these kids nowadays, they listen to drill music, King Von, and that's what they're listening to. J. Cole, don't nobody want to listen to that. And I think that's a problem too.
But you're going to get me on another tangent. You're going to get me on. I am an avid fan of the culture of hip hop. I've been for years. I got into hip hop because I grew up in the Soul Train era of music. My family, on cleaning days, we'd be playing Tina Marie, Rick James, the Mary Jane Girls, James Brown, as we're cleaning. It's not cultural Latino music. It was funk, soul, and disco, right?
Yeah.
So I think I first started discovering Tribe Called Quest because I heard some of the samples. Then KRS-One and that entire collective That led me to, De La Soul, Jungle Brothers, Monie Love, Queen Latifah,
Okay. Yeah.
Yo-Yo, Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick, MF Doom. Like, I started exploding on that. And then when I got into media, I had a quick realization that we don't market that.
Nope.
We market a certain type of throwback music, and I'm part of the problem as well, because that's just how the job is and how it's done. But there isn't a media format right now like a Yo MTV Raps that is there to educate on the culture and not just the trendy topics, but the culture of what we live.
Yep.
Hip hop was made to fight against oppression, as a megaphone and also a community gathering where you felt ostracized everywhere else. But when you're here, you got the breakers, you got the taggers, you got the MCers, and you got the DJ.
Yeah.
But that last pillar, knowledge of self, knowledge of community, knowledge of worth.
Yeah.
You can't be in hip hop if you don't understand that pillar above everything.
Nope.
See, you're getting me down me down a lane right now.
Which derived from the 5%ers, was it? Those 5%ers ideology is where that knowledge came in at. Knowledge of self. Yeah.
And I hope for a day that this next generation. Here's a dude that works in one of your schools. I believe it's Manuel. He's the drumline percussion coach. Terrell Ford.
Okay.
Terrell Ford makes music. And he's very quiet about it. He's kind of rebuilding, but I've heard his tracks. And he's the epitome of old school hip hop in this new form, new generation. And dude is solid.
Yeah.
Hey, plug Terrell Ford. Check him out on social media. Dude's dope. But I grew up with that type of direction of media. I grew up with Yo MTV Raps. I grew up with VH1 behind the music. I grew up with understanding the culture of all this, and we've kind of lost that in a way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
How do you see how do we bring that back?
Man, I think it would take a concerted effort, to bring that back. I think of this song, I just listened to it yesterday. It was by Chance the Rapper, Ride Remix, that features Twista and Do or Die. And somebody in the comments said, this is Chicago right here.
Yeah.
Not Chirac. And I thought about it. I said, that's absolutely correct. They're having fun. Like, they're in the back. It's like a picnic. It's a vibe. Everybody's there. They got the cars. That's the Chicago that I know, right? So.
What was that one song, Common and Kanye, The Food?
That's Chicago. That's Chicago.
I gotta get paid because my baby mama late.
They had a couple tracks where Common was on good music.
When he was Common Sense before that.
Yeah, he was Common Sense before. Yeah, that was back when like Water for Chocolate and all that good stuff.
Dude, you know game, bro.
For sure.
But it's like, media, just like anything else, commodifies certain things because there's a market there.
Yep.
But I think the beauty of what you guys do for PPS is the market is the kids.
Yes.
And family and community.
Yep.
So we started talking about Dr. Crott and the good that she did, right? I don't think there's enough words for you to explain her worth here in Peoria and the impact that she gave, right?
Yeah.
The search for an individual to fill that is going to be chaotic at best.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can say that.
So let's talk about it. Let's give you the platform, man. There's been a lot of conversation and controversy about the superintendent search and the transparency. From your seat, what do you want the community to know about how those decisions are made, and where do you see the process improving so far?
So, I don't really think there was that much controversy. There was a superintendent search firm that was chosen by the board to lead the district. There was a vote on that, and 4 people said that's what they wanted to go with. Individuals can have their opinion all the time, right? There were 7, 8 other bids that happened, and 4 wanted to go with the firm that we have now, From the Heart International. I think it's very, the word community, we have to really break down to some degree, right? Like community is bigger. Community to me is a word like music, right?
Yeah.
Like you have hip hop, you have rap, you have jazz, you have techno, you have R&B, you have
Country,
all these different subsets,
yacht
right?
rock.
When we say community, there's so many different communities that make up community.
Peoria alone, I mean,
meaning,
if you think about it.
yeah, for sure. Peoria especially. I mean, that's a huge divide between the north, anything north of War Memorial, and then anything south of War Memorial, right? I mean, it's just there. It's the tale of two cities. Honestly, yeah. Like Peoria looks different, but as soon as you cross War Memorial and go up north, the vibe is different than when you're going down south.
Culturally speaking, just everything.
Yes.
There's a clear divide between the difference of styles, cultural, and economics. Also.
Absolutely. So for me, something, that comes from one community doesn't signify a huge issue to me, right? We got 13,000 students alone, right? So we could probably say that's about, let's just say 20,000 fathers and mothers, right? Math probably horrible. Degrees not in math, but 20,000 mothers and fathers. If we have 3 people come to the board meeting to say, hey, I'm upset about this decision, then the data shows me that it's actually, that's not community to me,
It's a small sliver.
It's a small sliver of it, right? Now, voices can be loud, and you can hear, hey, this, that on Facebook, but Facebook isn't my actual life, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't go on Facebook and look at individuals that I don't know and look at what they're posting, right?
Yeah.
So it never really hits my radar because it's not and then my community, the community that I'm over here down, where I'm at, actually says great job, so that's why I said we got to be very careful of what we, not even careful. We just got to understand that there's so many different communities that make up one community. So for my vote, going with from the heart, I got 7-8 texts and calls saying great job. That was the right decision. So if I listen to that, then I'm saying my community. But what if I said, hey, the community wanted that? It'd be false for me to say that because you got another community over here that's like, no, don't go with from the heart. So we just got to be
that's the
careful.
frustration.
So I don't look at like, controversy being that, controversy to me is a huge controversy to me is ICE in our community, right? Because that's a huge issue that multiple communities can rally behind and get behind and protest, and it's more than 3 people that you're going to be hearing from. It's thousands of people that you can hear from. That's controversy. I think in order to be an effective leader in government, you have to, like you said, you stand for something or you'll fall for anything. See, so, my real life, in my real life, I don't concern, myself with the social media debates and going back and forth.
It's a lot of those.
And this and that. Like, I can't do it because I don't see these individuals in my real life, which makes it easier for me to make a decision. Now, you have to listen to the community. Don't misconstrue that, However, I'm elected to provide decisions and choices for our district, and I'm not going to and you have to listen to the facts, then make your selection. And that's what was done, that's what was done. And it takes 4 to make it happen. And 4 said yes. And where we're at now. And I think we're in a great position, great situation, doing focus groups now. We, transparency, even with that process, here's where it's very important to listen. So in that part, right? So this community or a community over here said, we want more transparency, meaning we want to see who applied and how that worked, right? So me, absolutely, once my board voted, like, yes, we're going to vote to table this until we get all the information out, right? Absolutely. So then calls start happening. Hey, President Wilson, how do you want to do this? Do you want to give us a summary and then of each firm and then put it out? No, give them everything. Why? Because that community wanted transparency. So we're going to give it to them, and we're going to give them everything because that's doing things right.
Yeah.
That's doing things fair. That's listening to that community saying, you know what? Absolutely. So we put it on the website, transparent, boom, everything out there. And that's effective listening. But when it comes to now making the decision, you can have people that say, hey, I don't want you to do this. You're going to have people say, hey, I want you to do this. I have to deal with that. So I have to stand tall and say, here's my decision, go with it. And then however the board votes, we vote. But no matter how we vote, I have to live with it. And because our kids are at stake. So now we're just going to get right onto the what's next.
So how was the transparency received in totality? Like, what did you hear after you opened up the back door? Like, yo, check it out.
I think, well, like I said, it wasn't a lot of people that came to the board meeting to speak. I could get,
because I tell you, I pubbed it at least twice an hour leading up for 3 weeks. Like, yo, check it out.
The community forum.
The town hall.
Okay, yeah.
I promoted that crazy, man.
For sure. And, the town hall, and that's a little separate from the transparency piece, but maybe it could be related. We didn't have a lot of time to put that together, dealing with 7 board members. But not even that. We actually, at one of those meetings, our teachers union, shout out to Leslie Danage as well.
Leslie.
Super dope. Leader of the PFT, the teachers union. But she had even came to the meeting and said, these dates, like let's look at them because, the dates you have currently, we're on fall break. So, a lot of teachers are going to be gone. So some of that went into the fall break. So we was pushing up against fall break. And then we got to get this process started because if not now, when, right? So that's what you had. And
she's leaving end the school year, right?
Dr. Crott, yeah. So July 1st, July 1 is technically her exit date. So we're on a timeline that we got to hit. So we had to, do the town hall. We did it. It wasn't, it was about 20, 25 people there.
Yeah, so not a big number.
But
which community got to come out more? I know y'all busy, but
for sure,
let me say it for you. Let me say it for you.
Yeah.
Hey, when given the chance to use your voice, go. I know you busy, but go. If you want to have more of a voice of what happens in this community, you gotta go.
Gotta go, for sure.
I don't want to put you in that seat to say that.
I'll say it in a heartbeat. But you know what? I feel good about it because we got the survey out there as well. And the
how
survey,
is that going?
it's going great. It's going great. I don't know how many. Last I checked, it was like 86. So that's more representation,
better
right?
Than 24.
It's better than 24, exactly.
Were there some? I'm sorry, but was there some carried notion throughout those 84 that like, it kind of helped you guys understand a little bit better? I know 84 is a small sample size. You
know what? That's for the firm because they're going to go over it.
Okay.
Yep, and then they're going to present it to us at a board meeting. So again, listening to that, community, there's no names to these communities either, but listening to the community, hearing transparency, it's like, we're going to do everything in open session, to what we can do to ensure transparency and make sure that we're listening to, that community. And then at the end of the day, transparency is key. Nobody doesn't want to be transparent. So
if you do, you're crooked.
Yeah, exactly. So shout out to those that came and spoke at the board meeting that we may not have agreed with what decision to make, but perfect way to say when you're able to work together with those you don't even agree on, magic can come out of it because now we got a transparent process and now it's all out there. I love that.
More times than not, there is a middle ground.
The similarity. Remember, we both like transparency. So we may think that we think different. Yeah, we do on who to pick. But in this moment, we're agreeing, hey, I like transparent. You like transparency? Yeah, I do. Oh, let's get transparent then,
You like transparency?
Yeah.
You care about the kids? Yep. Work with us.
Check.
Is the survey still out there?
Yes, it is. October 15th is the last day.
Where can they go to fill this out?
www.peoriapublicschools.org and it's right there on the main page. If you look to the right and go, you don't even have to scroll down. Look to the right. There's going to be a tab that says survey. Click on that.
Okay, awesome. So we cleared that things up. How is the process going in totality right now? Are you liking what you're seeing?
Loving it. Loving it.
What are some things you want? Let's talk about transparency. Are there some individuals you can speak on that you think will be good fits, or is that something you have to wait until more research comes in?
I'm really liking Dylon. For a second, I was right. You know,
because he spits hot.
Right. Straight up. Only a few go get that right there. You know. But no, I'm interested to see who apply. Honestly, man. And that's, you know, one of the biggest things. You know, again, that, you know, some of this stuff you just got to take it for what it is. Like, you know, trying to, you know, think that individuals have these things picked out. I am the president of Peoria Public Schools, but you know, I don't make enough money to be in a room where they say we're going with this person. I just haven't been invited there yet. I don't know where that's at or what's going on with it. I say that to say we don't know who we're going to select. But furthermore, we don't even know who's going to apply. So, you know, it's just a lot of rumors, man. And,
if someone is listening right now and they're on the fence of maybe applying for this, what qualifications outside of what you read on the job posting do you want to make sure people understand this is the type of individual we would need?
For me, I love local. So, you know, I love local.
Why
man,
local?
because they know our system. They know the how it works. They've worked under, you know, Dr. Karat to some degree. You know, they know our students. They care for our students. They know they don't got to move into another house to get here. They're familiar with the community already, as opposed to someone from Washington, D.C. coming out to lead our schools. And, you know, I don't know where this part would go, but I want to definitely leave this in there. Because I'm very heavy on local.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that in a town our size, we can't find someone from Peoria to lead Peoria schools. Like, come on, you can't even tell me that. You know, like, so to me, when these companies go out and you get somebody from Delaware, Washington, D.C., it's like a slap in the face to some of our people that work here. And shameless plug, October 17th, the Big Table conversation. I'm going to be hosting the Building a Talent Pipeline. For the Big Table for the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council.
Okay.
So I'll be hosting the Build a Talent Pipeline. I just don't want to see our city go out. You know, and we may, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, this person will be local that we hire. I'm just saying from my end, I love somebody that's already familiar with our students.
But I think that might be a community through and through.
Yeah.
That if you're born and raised here, you've seen kind of the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
You realize the potential this community has.
Yep.
I'm an outsider. I moved here 3.5 years ago, but I still see the potential.
Right.
I see Peoria. It's like a sleeping giant that's waiting to just get up.
Yes.
And you have a lot of people on either side of the aisle that they're trying something.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't clicked yet.
Yeah.
But I think we're getting closer.
Yeah.
And once that happens, there's a reason why they say if it plays in Peoria, it plays anywhere.
Yep.
If Peoria can come together and just admit the fact that we care about each other as a community, don't matter what it looked like, what it sound like, what it loved like, as a community, the nation could do it too.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, for sure.
So we talked about Dr. Karat in the search. Now, something else that we've talked about too, that there's been a lot of conversation about in the headlines, safety. You have the weapon detectors, the clear bag policies, disciplinary, some say the disparities between the disciplinary. So what's your perspective on balancing student safety with making sure schools still feel welcoming?
Man, it's everything to me. So everything you just named was something that I probably had a hand in, you know, from the clear backpacks to the cell phone policy, which kind of ties into our education component. But from a safety, aspect with the we'll be voting on a weapon detection system here soon. as well. So I mean, that's everything, especially with the climate and the environment that we see ourselves in now with school shootings, and shootings in general, public shootings becoming normal.
This past weekend, there was a 2 of them on Sunday.
Yeah, that's normal. It's become normal. It's become normal.
It is. You thoughts and prayers, and then we move past that society, and it amazes me,
Yep.
man.
I think if you go back to where Columbine, the shooting happened at Columbine, Colorado, the whole world pretty much stopped, right? Everybody was going like looking. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
Now we've become desensitized, whatever that word is. I ain't gonna try to.
Yeah.
What are you gonna try
It's
to
a Monday
get?
afternoon, Doc.
Right. So, now a school shooting happens. It's in the headlines. You hear it, and it's like, okay, cool. Well, what we having for dinner? Tacos?
It really is that bad.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's normal.
Somewhere down the path, we've lost that sense of urgency.
Well, it's happened so often.
I mean,
there's only so much urgency.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
I don't want to put this out there. What are we doing here in Peoria to make sure? Let's go down the list of things.
Yeah.
You mentioned a couple.
Yep.
That nothing tragic happens here.
So each of our schools have a safety shield now. I think there's one school that we're working on. But all of our schools outside of like one has the safety shield. So when you walk in, you are instantly already in a box. You can't go forward unless you check in with someone.
What's the one that doesn't?
I don't know. I think they may all have it. I just didn't want to get misquoted, man, because that'd be under the post. Well, actually, rolling acres.
Somebody would, yeah.
So that's one thing. That's a shelter. So before a threat actually comes into the school, you got, you can be stopped. The weapons technology detection thing that we have, I think we're going to be voting on that at the next board meeting. That is essentially what they use at sports games and concerts, right? So another extra layer of security saying we're not going to allow, that's stopping a threat from coming inside the building, right? So that could be a student carrying a weapon. We'll catch that before it even happens, which is where you got the clear backpacks as well to make it a deterrent for a gun to come inside.
Yeah.
So those are 3 things automatically off top that prevent outside threat from coming in, and that prevents students, an internal problem from happening. We are going to be getting radios for our school resource officers that communicate with the police department. Currently, they don't have that. So we'll be able to go into prep or whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Ching, this going on over here, instead of having to make a call from a phone.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an added improvement. Continuing to improve our camera and AI technology is something that we're doing as well. We're 100%. And then Boone is the GOAT of safety and security. Is my guy, Demario Boone.
Bro, I brought him out for a pod. We talked for damn near 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
I love that dude.
Yeah, for real.
What he's
so
doing,
genuine too.
super cool, man.
Yeah, for real.
Half the pod was nerding out about comic books, but
yeah.
No, he's cool. But what do you say to some parents, or not say, but how would you have the conversation with some parents who say, clear backpacks, detectors, all this, like, where are we sending our kids to jail or in prison? Like, how do you combat that other side of communities that look at this as a negative? Versus you're like,
because
hey,
those book bags were kind of split.
It's a reality of the community you live in, where some individual, like I grew up in Chicago, bro.
Yeah.
Kelly High School, my pops went. Clear book bags. They're clear. You could see them. Curie High School, they were clear book bags. It's been a thing. It's been a common thing. In my mind, I see it. I'm like, oh, safety. But some individuals will see that. They'll be like, what are you turning my school into? So what's your take on that?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's the time that we're in. I got a job to do, and that job is to try to prevent something from happening. So unfortunately, I can't just look at that and say, hey, unfortunately, I think that, they really love the Hello Kitty backpack. I understand that, but, to make this safe. And the thing is, I got children in the district. So I have 3 kids. One is a sophomore at Richwoods, and then I have
Richwoods.
Yeah. And then I have Richwoods. 2 at Glen Oak. But then I have a freshman at Central as well. So yeah, I got 4 children in the district.
Oh, sorry.
So sorry, son, that I forgot over at Central. But
is he the baby?
he is, yeah. He's a
He'll get over
younger one, yeah. So we have that, and for me as a parent, I want it, for everybody to be safe, and unfortunately, that's one of the things that we have to do. So, I would rather that than to wake up and have to hear that something happened that could have been avoided had we just did clear backpacks. Because it's biggest thing with clear backpacks is it's a deterrent. It says we don't want that in here, So how you sneak that in with
detectors, clear
detectors
backpacks.
and clear backpacks,
Yeah.
is, beyond me. Yeah.
How do you balance that as the president of the school board, but also as a parent who has 4 kids in different schools?
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance this is what the community needs, but as a father, I may be feeling a different way about what the community needs?
Yeah, for sure. Because
that's gotta be
for sure. Because I was on the team with the cell phones, though. So let me tell you, like with the cell phones, I was thinking, with the amount of school shootings that happen, I want my kid to have a phone. So I get it. It's a perfect thing, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it goes into the responsibility of having all those other students, man. I got to maintain the role that I have. And I think it may go back to when I made that pact with myself to impact as many people as I wanted to impact. I think, it made it easier for me to say, you know what, with cell phones, they're a huge distraction inside of our schools. So many layers to the cell phones, like distraction. I've seen my own daughter go from reading to being up on their phone 24/7, and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't like that.
Dude, to get somebody's attention, you got about 5 seconds before their attention is gone. They teach us that in radio.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. So, the bullying that happens on those cell phones, the stuff that they record on their cell phones, they send on those cell phones, is just like, what, for a difference to be made, let's look into, making our area a cell phone free school.
As a tough pill to swallow.
It is. It is. It is. It is.
I haven't had the blessing yet to be a father.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But I would be one of those parents that would be like, yo, I don't care what you're saying.
Yeah.
My son, my daughter, they have a bat phone that nobody knows about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not even going to lie to you.
Hey, my son texts me, I'm the president of the school board. He texts me while he's in school. So it's like,
How do you handle that conflict sometimes?
Again, man, I really, with my son, he's like, he doesn't know it, but he's really my person I go to he's my snitch, so to speak.
You can't put him on blast.
I'm like, how they do it? He'd be like, so you grab here and you just pull twice and boom, it comes up. I'll be like, okay.
I'll give you an answer right now. You want me to omit this part?
No, of course not. Keep this.
Say less.
Keep this, man. My truth is my truth.
What's your kid's name?
Lathan.
Hey, Lathan, your street cred just went down the drain, dog.
So I don't know, I think I handle it well, because I do know that they are going to get them out. I do know that, I just stress and put that call in again and make sure, hey, doc, make sure principals know that there's going to be no cell phones, inside the school, and I'm doing my job. And I think that's the biggest thing, is making sure you're doing your job, as the president of the school board.
It's hard. Some individuals will hear that and they'll feel a way, but I mean, that's not sad, but that is the reality of being in the position that you're in.
Yeah.
And still having to be Papa Bear, where you're like, look, my kid is my kid.
Yeah.
I'll do what's best for this community, but at the end of the day, my child's my child.
Yeah, my child's my child.
I'll be dead ass honest with you. I can never fault the individual for taking care of their family first.
Yeah, for sure.
I was raised on that.
Yeah.
But let's move on to one of the last prompts I got for you, man, and let's clear this up.
Okay.
I did some research on this, and let me know if the metrics are off. But on student achievement, which we're big on, numbers show only 13% of high schoolers reading at grade level, 10% in math. That's hard to hear as a parent or community member. How do you feel, or how do you frame those realities while also pointing to progress like rising graduation rates?
So I'm not sure if those numbers are correct.
Yeah.
But even going off of there, those two areas that are issues, I think, not only with our district, but probably other districts as well, specifically reading. I do know there's a lot of initiatives that Dr. K has put in place to address reading and math disparities as well.
Yeah.
There's a point in time where many of our South schools didn't even have algebra, and now each of those schools have algebra, and some of those students are excelling.
Good.
Where they thought that they wouldn't excel, right? I think when it comes to those areas there, I think it's very important to, it's a layered question, and one of the things I always go into is who is our children's first teacher?
Us.
So us, right? Like parents, right? So I think it's very important for parents to work with their students as well to help and piggyback what the teachers are teaching them at school as well, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of distractions, a lot of things that go on inside of our schools that make it difficult for a teacher to kind of get through, this particular concept with a student. And then the student may not be too attentive, they may be up and down, but then by the time next week comes, that student didn't get that lesson, and now we're moving forward, and there's just so many different parts, and now he's not being worked with at home.
Or the student is acting out because they don't get attention where they come from.
Yep.
Most kids act out because they need some type of attention on some type of value.
Yes, absolutely. So when that situation happens, it's very easy to have to come from behind. I was one of those people that had to come from behind. Had good reading comprehension, I could read, but math, I fell off. After 4th grade, once they started doing the stuff with the number on top of it, the squares and all that stuff. Yeah, man, I was going. And then I remember looking like the 11th grade, like I had D's and F's in math, like all the time. And I remember, and I thought to myself, even then, I said, man, a lot of this would be easier had I got it back in 4th grade, 5th grade, I would go more like 5th, 6th, or 7th, 8th, understood the concept, because math seems to build off of one another. Like you go here, then you learn about the decimals, then you learn about fractions, and then they both kind of fall in line with themselves.
You know what? Let me ask you this on a quick pivot. And this is coming from a respectful place. But someone that's listening to the podcast right now, and you're very blunt and very honest with everything, right?
Yeah.
If somebody were to have the opinion or ask you, well, you're head of the PPS, but you're probably admitting this, and talking about it.
Yeah.
What's your rebuttal to that?
That I got D's and F's in the 11th grade?
Yeah.
My story is my story. I'm a doctor now.
That. I love that.
So, I had, there's no shame in where I come from and what I had to do to overcome, right? Because we all got a story. I was not a good high school student necessarily. I got straight A's up until like 6th grade. Then 7th, 8th, probably started getting B's and C's. Then 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th was probably C's averaged, and D's and F's were sprinkled along in there. But it was enough to go to University of Cincinnati.
So you said that with a smile.
Yeah, exactly, because this is my story, right?
Yeah.
So if I sat here and didn't tell my story, I think it goes in line with what we was talking about earlier, which is where I see myself being a role model, is that I share the same struggles as many of our students that we have in the district, and I look like many of the students in our district, and I talk like many of the students, and I dress like many of the, and I eat like many of the students in our district, right? Mm-hmm. And I say that to say, if I hide what that looks like, then I'm no good at that point. I don't feel like I'll be any benefit to the people that I want to represent if, I get on here and tell them, hey, I had straight A's. That signifies to them they have to get straight A's, and that's not the case. You can get C's and D's and F's. That's not what we want you to get. But you can get that and still be successful. Hey, look at me.
the beauty in this, the reason why I asked that is I love to have these conversations with a real gold nugget, and we still got a little bit to go. I'm enjoying this conversation.
Yeah,
you
me
are,
too.
brother.
Me too. Yeah.
That's very beneficial for those listening.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a prime example of someone that had ups and downs, peaks and valleys, that wasn't beautiful, wasn't perfect, because growth is not linear.
Mm-hmm.
It has many trials, many tribulations, but the fact that through all that, through A's, B's, C's, D's, F's, you still got a doctorate next to your damn name, bro.
Yep.
Like that right there,
Yep.
and you ain't code switching it up. You are who you are.
I am who I am.
You can be who you are
Yep.
and grow in your own process.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now, let me ask you this. So let's flip this, because you kind of brought it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What do you need from us? How can parents, neighbors, and community members make your job easier and support our students more effectively outside the classroom?
Yeah, absolutely. I would just say being present, honestly. Even as you talked about those metrics and those education things, I think it's just very important that we, as a community, help to empower one another. Shout out to Alicia Granderson. She's someone that, and I hope I don't mess it up, but the parent project, I'm going to just keep it there. It's like the Pupil Parent Project, right? Where they advocate for different educational services, right? And in that, I think those organizations are very important to have because we have to empower our parents to understand what the educational system looks like, right? Because if we can get, some parents may not know how to work on math with their child. I've never had to do it per se. My son has been able to catch the concept's great, and he knows this stuff. But now we're studying for college exams, and I'm gonna use ChatGPT, and I'm gonna go through different things with him and say, "Hey, look, this is it," so he can get the concept, and then that just influences his educational path, right? Yeah. As parents, we really need to do that. You know what I'm saying? We need to empower one another. Say, hey, I know you got little David. Is little David reading well, right? Because I know that 10% of the high school population isn't reading. How's little David doing? Well, we can help him with that. Like, I helped mine, and here's how I did it. I think that's one of the major things that we can do as a community. The one community, right? Yeah. That we can do to help out. I think just being there, show up, be there, show out. Is the phrase. I mean, that's open to the public. That means anybody can come, say what's up to a child, do that. That's major in itself. And then continue to advocate. Like individuals that come to the board meeting, I tell everyone that I talk to, come to the board meeting. Some of them look and they say, you want me to come and I'm about to complain. It's like, no, I need you to complain because we need to get it out there. It can't change if we don't know about it as a board. Don't be comfortable just telling me. Yeah. Let's tell everybody what the issue is.
It comes back to what you said earlier, that I'll paraphrase it, but unless there's a big ruckus here offline that we hear and see, it's just a small select people on social media that aren't getting involved, that aren't in your face. Real change happens when an individual in a position like yours sees multiple people from multiple different community umbrellas coming to you and say, hey, we may not think the same, but this is something that pisses us off.
Yes, exactly, man, exactly. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it all. That's why I have no problems with no community that we, discuss, even when we don't agree. That transparency part was the biggest thing to me. Like, the light bulb hit, and I'm like, man, we give it everything because that's what we're supposed to be doing. And that's why I say it doesn't matter who it is, come to the board meetings. Those individuals have passion. There was somebody, shout out to Terry Knapp. When I first joined the board, Terry Knapp used to come to the board meetings. He's a retired teacher, taught for the district. And he used to just lay in, rah, 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 boom, 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 boom. Man, I sat up there, I said, I love this guy because I love his passion to come to the school every Monday at 6:30 to tell us about us. I said, I got to meet him. Met him, and to this day, every time I see Terry, I love him. Love him. You know, whereas
Dude,
that's my approach to things.
But when you have individuals that take that time, and time is valuable.
Yeah.
You get it. I'm a man that has an air fryer and a dog, brother. I don't have much responsibilities outside of doing my damn job, coming in, going out. You know what I mean? But for individuals who are parents like yourself, who also may be in a relationship, may have a full-time gig or a couple in this economy, kids have extracurriculars. You got to do this. You got to cook. You got to clean. You got to maintain the house, pay the bills.
Yeah.
Some people can feel that extension of, here's a PTA meeting. Here's a board. When are the school board meetings?
Yeah. School board meetings every other Monday. First and third Monday.
First and third Monday. That extra could be a lot. What are some other ways you provide for community members that may feel that might burn them out a little bit too much to go on a Monday after doing XYZ to have a voice? Yeah.
Well, you said that for our community members that want to do that, but they have all those things going on.
Yeah.
You know, you're right, man. There's a lot going on. You know, I have people that call me all the time, you know, hey, you know, Mr. Wilson, this, that. I think I'm an accessible board member, meaning you could look online and call a number. You can send a text. You can send an email. You can schedule emails now, so you can go at, you don't get free till 11:30 p.m. You can make that email go out at 8 o'clock a.m.
Yeah.
You know, I just really, you know, our children need us, and if you have a heart that pulls you, you know, toward this direction, and you want to make the district better, I would just try to advise of the multiple ways that you can reach out. Like, you know, I think done are the days where we should have individuals. You know what's crazy to me? You have people that are elected by the people, and you can't even get in touch with them.
Yeah.
How horrible and that's the most mind-boggling thing to me. Like, you should be accessible to the people, no matter what. So
you're elected.
I say you can go to my page and any other board member's page, and you know, on our website, get our numbers and reach out and tell me about an idea. The Mind Over Matter 2 that we did, that was Miss Ford's idea. Shout out to Sharon Ford over at Manual. That was her idea. So she came to me and was like, hey, I got this idea. Show me some pictures. And then we executed it. So, I mean, anybody can have an idea. Say, let me get this over to Greg real quick. Greg, man, I think we should do a music program. You know, this is what it is. And then I can go execute it and boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in full agreement.
Yeah.
So this podcast, we've learned a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
Very blunt, very honest. I do respect it. I appreciate that greatly.
Sure.
We talked about Peoria itself. We talked about media, music being a factor also in our youth. We've talked about the safety protocols. We've addressed some rates. We've addressed Dr. Karat, the new search. So you're in a position not just to manage problems, but to cast vision. What is your vision for Peoria Public Schools? And if we're sitting here 5 years from now, what do you hope that will look like, and what would feel different in our schools if your vision was to kind of come to fruition?
That's an excellent question, man. That's a great question. And I never really thought about that because things are moving so fast, and you got this and you got that. I never really sat down to think of it. But I think I see an environment that is free from distractions, i.e., you know, kind of, you know, removing the cell phones from the school. I think a lot of what I see is what I've already been trying to implement and have implemented, right? I see a distraction-free area. I see one where our teachers are praised and are empowered to want to teach, you know, like, you know, I don't want to feel, I see one where administration and teachers aren't butting heads, you know, because one, you know, oh, it's a union and we're supposed to be against, you know, this is our interests. No, our interests are our kids. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, one that empowers our teachers, one that empowers our parents. So those organizations like the Parent Project, you know, and organizations like May I Mentoring, shout out Carl Holloway, and Pop, Antoine Banks, are funded to some degree to do the real work inside of those buildings, to mentor students. So having a solid mentorship space, so to say, for our students. And I see just learning. I see a strong leader. I see a superintendent that we're about to select that's going to carry on the work that Dr. Karat has laid down, and improve it and make it even better, right? So that's what I see. I see a thriving education system, one that we can design and just put into a better light, man. A lot of stuff that District 150 gets is just, years and years and years and years of just gripe, and people making that stuff known. And I don't think that helps anyone,
Yeah.
District 150 this and District 150 that,
I've heard that a lot since
but
moving here about
yeah,
District 150.
Yeah, we hear the bad a lot, but we really don't celebrate the good. It's
But
like,
here's the thing. Since I've taken over here at 102.3, right, I've made it not almost. I've made it a concentrated effort to become more enthralled within District 150 to get to know the schools, because District 150 is kind of like where I came up, man.
yeah,
We had schools like that.
yeah.
And I know firsthand individuals I've seen coming up.
Yeah.
And it's a community. Don't mean
Yeah.
just because you ain't from it don't mean you got to ostracize it.
Yeah. Hey, and my school was way worse than any district school that we have here, man. Like, I'm talking about Gladiator School. You walk in them restrooms, anything was going on, any and everything. Like, and I say that to say we're not perfect at Peoria Public Schools. I just say that to say there are, worse examples out there for our students to go to.
So, last two questions I got for you, man. Well, three. Is there anything that we haven't covered yet that you wish that you want people to know about?
No, I think you've done a great job. I'm, with the questions and everything, it's been a great conversation.
Appreciate that. Okay, so second to last question. These podcasts, all of them are a collection of stories. It's me discovering Peoria as kind of an outsider, figuring out what makes this community amazing.
Gotcha.
And every book we've read, there's a gold nugget from it.
Yes.
What's the gold nugget in your story?
Oh, okay. From a book or just in general, just for
your
me?
Life story. Like,
From
if
my life
somebody were to
story?
listen to this pod,
Yeah.
you want them walking away with this gold nugget from your story.
I would say that's a good one, man. But I would probably say love is love. And what I mean by that is I see no hatred for anybody. I see no reason to talk about individuals. I'm a person that is loving to everyone that I come in contact with, right? So from this interview, I would probably say love is love. And I would say, respect thy neighbor the way that you want to be respected, as well. So if there's any take on that, it may sound cliche, but I love that I'm in this space now, considering, my story and what I've had to overcome. Yeah. And now to sit back and tell you what do I hope to gain, and it's all love. I think, man, that's only, that's just a blessing to be able to have that reference.
Yeah, I think the beauty in your story so far is seeing an individual who may have gone through struggles, but was able to come up on top of that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And not only that, but build himself to a position where he can really impact a community.
Absolutely.
And a community is, as we said, through and through, left, right, up, down, everything in between. It's the next generation of our kids.
It's the next generation.
So last question is very simple. If there's anybody still listening throughout this almost 2-hour podcast,
I'm sure they will. They will.
Probably. Either it's hate listening.
Yeah,
or
right. Yeah.
We appreciate you. If there's anybody that has something on their mind, they want to get in contact with you or are looking for ways to get involved, where can they go to get in contact with you or anybody else on the board?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll do board. We'll do, email gregory.wilson@psd150.org. Or you can call the phone number as well, 513-578-4409. we have many initiatives, community initiatives that we do through the Yanni Collective. I'm a member of the Yanni Collective as well, where we do different community initiatives. If you want to get involved, you can reach out to me there, the Yanni Collective @gmail.com, or like and follow our page, and you'll be able to stay up to date with different things that we do or have going on. Board members, as it goes back to that, all of our information is on our website. So you can go to that and get in touch with any of our board members. They're all wonderful too. Shout out to all the board members for Peoria Public Schools. It's a thankless job, man. We're all volunteers, but they're all super dope in their own right as well.
I will say the position you're in doesn't get past me, that no matter what you do, there's going to be individuals that absolutely love it and think you're great. And then there's going to be other individuals that absolutely despise everything you do.
That's the only reason why I said we got to be careful on the way we use community, because literally there's one community that despises it. There's one community that loves it. Mm-hmm. So we just have to be careful on how we use it.
Hey, man, from the conversation we have, I think you're doing a good job, though.
Yeah.
Is anybody doing a perfect job?
Yeah.
No such thing as perfect.
I don't know. I'm close. Yeah. No, I'm just playing.
No, but I think when you have individuals that have a good heart, that want to give back, actively trying to give back.
For sure.
Your kids are part of the quote-unquote experiment of public schools.
Yes.
And it's not like you're talking from a privileged standpoint. You're talking from a parent whose kids are in the process of what you're doing.
Are in it. One at Central, one at Richwoods, two at Glen Oak, and live in the neighborhoods.
I think that speaks for itself, man. Yeah. Greg, anything else you want to put out there, bro?
No, just shout out to you for this platform, man, and everything that you do in the community. That's super dope. We got Digham College Fair coming up October 27th. Get at us if you want to help with that. It'll be at the University of Illinois, Chicago. And then we got the toy drive coming up. So if you want to volunteer your time or just volunteer your time, hit us up, the Yanni Collective.
When's the toy drive?
Toy drive's December 13th at Art Inc. We probably going to give away, we did 1,200 children last year, so it'll probably be around the same.
December.
1,200 children got gifts. And we do Christmas trees, and we go up there and put up lights on the homes too. So
that was my guest today, Gregory Wilson, the president of the Peoria Public Schools Board of Education. Today's conversation wasn't about finger pointing or what is this, what is that. It's about listening, learning, and community building. Because the future of our kids isn't his problem or my problem, it's ours together. So please get involved. Use your voice. There's opportunities, whether you can do it in person or online. Use your voice. Now more than ever, be a part of the community. Join. So this has been the Community Beat. Let's keep the conversation going. We're out. Peace.